Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello everyone. Okay, we will continue our lecture into optoelectronic motion detector. Alright, so optoelectronic motion detector is one type of motion detector that are most popular sensor that are used nowadays, because this sensor is depend on the electronic radiation which in the optical range, which is where they have wavelength from 0.4 to 20 micrometer. Okay, it's cover from visible, near infrared, and part of the far infrared spectral range. Okay, so these sensors are primarily used to indicate movement of people and animals. Okay, for example, in our house, we want to detect the intruder that comes up into our house. We can use this motion detector. Okay. And then for example, another example, at the shopping complex, the door, the open and close the door at the shopping complex is used also motion detector. Okay. So the operating principle of the optoelectronic motion detector is use it detects the lights either it's in the visible or not. Okay, and then it emanates from the surface of moving object into the surrounding space. Okay, so the radiation is maybe originate either by external light source and then reflected by the object, or it may be produced by the object itself in the form of natural emission. Okay, so it can be classified as active detector and a passive detector. Okay. Next. Usually the active detector is require an additional light source. Okay, for example, electrical lamp and infrared light emitting diode and others. Okay, so for passive detector, they no need additional light source. Okay, which is it's detect from mid and far infrared emission from object having temperature change that are different from the surroundings. Okay, these both active and passive detector use an optical contrast to detect an object. The optoelectronic motion detector we are very useful if want to indicate whether an object move or not. However, they cannot distinguish one moving object from another, and they cannot be utilized to accurately measure the distance to a moving object or velocity. Alright, so major applications for, as I told before, we use it in our house, in shopping complex. Okay, for another example, we can use it's like a switching, which is when there is no people inside a room, we can off the light and turn on the light when the people's enter the room. Okay, so there is a lot of application of motion detector. Okay, this detector, why people like to use it, because it's very simple and low cost. Okay, we can look at this figure, for example. Okay, so if you don't understand how the principle or how the working principle of optoelectronic motion detector. Okay, for example, if you can look at this figure, okay, so there is this one is the voltage, and then this is the output. Okay, so if you can look at the output, there is two signal. If we at this one, it means that 0, and then at the higher level is 1. Okay, it means that at the zero position means that the sensor will be off, and then at the at the level 1 means that the sensor will be on. Okay, so we recall that the function of the motion detector, we want to detect the motion or any motion on the sensor, and then we want to turn on the sensor, right? Okay, so at first, okay, assume that the motion detector, we mount it in a room. Okay, so a focusing lens will create an image of the room on focal plane where the light sensitive element is positioned. Okay, so if the room is unoccupied means that there is no people inside the room, the image is static, the output signal from the element is in stable state. Okay, so this is the raw data from the signal. Okay, so if you can see, the output here is between negative and positive threshold, means that it's in the stable position, means there is no people inside the room. Alright, so then the data from here will be convert into the output, which is the output give the signal 0, means the sensor, it will be continue into the off position. Alright, so what happened when there is people enter the rooms and keep moving? Okay, so his image on the focal plane also move. Okay, in a certain moment, the intruder's body will be displaced by an angle alpha, and the image overlap with the element. Okay, so you need to know that the detection is produced only at the moment when the object image either coincide with the detector surface or clear it, which means there is no overlapping, and where is there is no detection. Okay, so when the people's coming out into the room, alright, so for example here the people's, okay, so they enter the room where the angle will be moved, right? So the angle, there are a certain angle which we call is alpha. Okay, so the signal on the sensor we give a signal, means that there is some peaks which is the above the positive threshold. Okay, then they will be convert into the output signal in term of 1, which means that there is motion, or there is people enter the rooms, and the signal needs to be turned on. Okay, and then okay, you look at this location. Okay, it's in stable state and the output is 0, right? So if there is some intruders also, either it's above the positive or below the negative threshold, they will be give the signal of the output to be on the sensor. Alright, so this one and then this one. So if they are in the steady state, there will be the sensor will be going to be turned on. Alright, so the comparator will be generates a positive voltage, which is that's the function of the comparator inside this circuit. Okay, so the structure of a sensor, if you can look at this figure, okay, we have a lens, we have a light sensitive element, and then we have amplifier to amplify the signal, and then we have the window comparator here to convert the voltage, and then here is our output voltage or our output signal. Alright, so that's all. That's the function or working principle of the optoelectronic motion detector. So you can continue reading your lecture note, and I will give you some example on the video also. So that's all. I hope all of you will be understand my lecture. Thank you.